This is how you know the conversation of reparations is making a huge impact because these stories are coming out more on a regular basis. And as bad as some of them want this to go away, it's not going to go away. So you can see this came out in the Philadelphia Inquirer, July 1st, 2019. Most Americans still oppose reparations, but that's shifting with younger generations. And by the way, we don't care what you oppose. We don't care. We don't care because everyone that received reparations, part of those reparations were black tax dollars that went to the Jews and still goes to the Jews and goes to the native Indians and went to the Japanese. And you got the nerve to whine when we talk about reparations. As far as I'm concerned, our reparations is way more legitimate than all of those other groups. So, ladies and gentlemen, Marianne Williamson is the only one that has openly spoke about reparations, and the rest of the Democrats are just putting on a good facade. Okay, they're really not feeling reparations, and they know it. Only one of the Democratic candidates for the 2020 presidency brought up reparations at the political debates last week. It was Marianne Williamson, a best-selling author, self-help guru, and spiritual advisor to Oprah Winfrey, considered on the fringe among the crowded field of candidates, in other words, a long shot. Could it be the same for the idea of reparations? Despite recent attention to reconsider House Resolution 40, a bill that aims to establish a commission to study the subject, the most recent polls show an overwhelming majority of Americans, especially white Americans, still oppose reparations to African American descendants of enslaved people. And that's okay. We don't care about that. We don't care about what you oppose. But that number is decreasing. In April 2019 survey of 1,000 likely voters of the Rasmussen report found that 21%, up from 17% in March 2018, think U.S. taxpayers should pay reparations to Black Americans who can prove they have descendants from slaves. They are descended from slaves. Well, a lot of us can. I know I can. I certainly can prove it. Another 66% oppose reparations, down from 70%, while 13% are undecided. Gallup is currently conducting its own survey on reparations, a spokesperson said. So, ladies and gentlemen, when have you seen all of these polls on reparations? And it's becoming a lot more frequent. The Rasmussen report, as other polls have shown in recent years, highlights a sharp division based on race. Well, that's nothing new. That's America. That's the entire American history from the start. So that's nothing. In April 2019 survey shows that 60% of Black Americans favor reparations, while only 12% of whites favor it. And 73% of whites and 32% of Blacks and 64% of other minority voters are opposed to it. And I really don't care who these other minorities are. If they didn't serve in chattel slavery, I don't care what your opinions are. Don't care. Okay, in 2016, a Morris poll found that overall 68% of all Americans oppose reparations, with 81% of whites and 35% of Blacks opposing it. For Hispanics, it was almost an even, with 47% against and 46% supporting it. And you know what, Hispanics, you are stupid for being opposed to it, because let me tell you something. This is why We don't support your causes either because you've never backed us. And ladies and gentlemen, let this be proof. There is no black brown coalition. Look at how much they oppose black people getting reparations. Don't ever bring up no black brown coalition to me again, ever. However, the numbers change among younger generations. The Gen Xers, ages 35 to 50, 25% supported reparations. For millennials, 18 to 34, 40% were in favor of reparations. Okay, so they are now saying there was a survey taken in 2000 which indicated that 4% of white Americans endorse reparations, he said. There are so many things in this society that at some point the majority opposed what was the right thing to do. For example, when they abolished slavery, you know, many of them were for slavery. Never forget that. They didn't highly oppose slavery like they try to claim today. That is false. The majority were for slavery, just like during the civil rights movement the majority were against the civil rights movement. You know, so the majority is not always right. All right. The government responsible corporations and other institutions that have profited off of the harm they have inflicted on Black people, from colonialism to slavery, through food and housing redlining, mass incarceration, and surveillance, must repair the harm done. Additional signs of increasing support. The recent decision by Georgetown University students to pay $27.20 a semester that would support a reparations fund to the descendants of 272 enslaved men, women, and children who were sold by Jesuits to finance the university. And they are one of many. There were other universities that did the same thing. White liberals, which I don't know why they think there's some distinction here, because there isn't. White liberals have moved so far to the left on questions of race and racism that they are now on these issues to the left of even the typical Black voter. This wokeness, the article suggests, has begun to shift public opinions on race. The left is really no different than the right when it comes down to the Black community. I mean, it's really all of the same bird. It doesn't matter. You know, jumping on the side of a Democrat is, it's no better than jumping on the side of a Republican. They just have a different approach in the way they carry out their racism, but it's still the same racism at the end of the day. While they didn't mention reparations during the debate, a handful of Democratic candidates, Senator Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and they're just talking about they considered reparations. Yeah, they all consider it until there's a price tag involved. Once they realized, we want to take it a step further and we want restitution, financial restitution, all of a sudden they start singing a different tune. So, no, none of these people that you mentioned, I don't care nothing about what they think. I don't care about their considerations for reparations, because if it's not going to go beyond a bunch of talking, then what's the point in supporting it? Because deep down inside, you don't support it at all. That's why when somebody start talking about checks, you start changing your tune, like Elizabeth Warren recently. A check for what? So you know where she stands. So, of course, there's a divide, but, we have been living with divisions forever now. I'm not in fear of more divisions in America. To me, it's more of the same. So the bottom line is, this is another article acknowledging reparations and all of the talks that are going on about it. So as you can see, I believe things are going to shift even more, as this issue keeps growing. And we can't let it die, period. If we're going to stay on something in the Black community, this is the thing to stay on and not be moved. There are so many things that have happened to us, even to this day. The lynchings are still going on. Too many of our people are getting shot unarmed by the government sanctioned police departments around this country. And there is no bills in DC being passed against these cops killing us unarmed. This government has not done enough to rectify this situation, and they continue to do little to nothing to make this whole situation better. So until you start making the correct moves and doing the right thing, this conversation ain't going nowhere. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.